she has gone viral, all right? She's gone viral over Hot Girls Eat Arby's. Yeah, she was wearing this outfit, this arrangement into the Chicago Sky game. Of course, the Indiana Fever, I would like to say, beat the brakes off the Sky, but really, it felt like they underachieved a good bit.
Sophie Cunningham's t-shirt became a marketing phenomenon. Sophie Cunningham currently plays for the Indiana Fever and has now become one of the most recognizable WNBA players. And for Barbie Night, she pulled up wearing a shirt that said "Hot Girls Eat Arby's," and the internet lost it. But here's the real backstory. A few months earlier, Sophie posted a video rating Arby's, and that video is just her being authentic in herself.
We know somebody that has gotten ridiculously popular this year with the Indiana Fever. I made a prediction that she was going to be the second most popular player on this team by the end of the year. And then, of course, there was the big incident during the Connecticut Sun game. And by the end of that game, she was known as Caitlin Clark's enforcer, right? The one that's got her back. At times, it feels like the only one that's got her back, if I'm being quite honest.
I think I'm going to go ahead and give Arby's a solid 9 out of 10.
Then following this, the phrase "Hot Girls Eat Arby's" started flying around. And it turns out that Arby's has been saying this since 2023.
How does a $20 roast beef tee end up outscoring every slick WNBA promo reel put together this season? Simple. It wrapped a real human heartbeat in cotton.
Let's talk about Arby's. She is now on the Arby's payroll. Decided that it was a match made in roast beef heaven. Hot Girls Eat Arby's. No knock on Arby's, Sophie, but if you give Arby's 9 out of 10, I'll take you to Racks. I'll buy you some Racks, and I think you will find that Hot Girls probably eat Racks. Arby's has a new spokeswoman, and it just so happens to be Sophie Cunningham. Yeah, that's right. Sophie Cunningham, who took to her social media to discuss how much she enjoyed a trip that she made to Arby's.
The moment Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham sauntered into Barbie Night with "Hot Girls Eat Arby's" stamped across her chest, the league's PR machine got posterized.
Sophie Cunningham has broken the internet in multiple ways over the last day. All right, the other day before the Chicago Sky game, this Barbie, and let's be real, let's be honest. If you were going to cast somebody as Barbie, there's a good chance you'd take a long, hard look at Sophie Cunningham.
Overnight, the snapshot rocketed through timelines, racking up 7-digit engagement numbers while box score graphics limped along in its wake. That single image sold so fast that Arby's POS system allegedly crashed under the weight of 800,000 checkouts.
Lack of awareness combined with a lack of ability to jump, not great! Bang!
Me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow, me bow!
Yeah! Again! Do it for me. Me bow!
Let's take a look, because Arby's saw this and decided that it was a match made in roast beef heaven.
Like, not bad.
They weren't dissuaded, obviously, by the little shade that she threw at them there between enjoying her yummy sandwich, saying that she went away. She doesn't have it often for obvious reasons. Well, what are those obvious reasons, Sophie? Anyway, she is now on the Arby's payroll.
700,000 followers overnight. I don't know if you guys knew, she had like 300 or something less than 48 hours ago. Insane. The enforcer has arrived. And she even posted like twice since then, bro. She's totally taken it to a whole new level. Like, Caitlin Clark has a new star. This is like a new star in the WNBA. People ain't gonna like it. People aren't gonna like it. Trace Leches, you know what I'm saying? Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull, which, by the way, kind of was obsessed with her before she even came along.
So Caitlin Clark's teammate Sophie Cunningham's jersey has officially sold out on the Fever website. And this comes the same week as the chippy foul that led to some ejections at the end of the game. It was a bit of a revenge foul taken up for Caitlin Clark after a hard foul on the other end. And then immediately a petition online from the Caitlin Clark haters to have Sophie Cunningham removed from the WNBA. They're trying to get folks to sign it. They said what she displayed tonight was disgusting. Yeah, it was a hard foul, but now it has the Caitlin Clark fans rallying around her, buying up her jerseys to the point they've officially sold out.
Ticket brokers stared at their dashboards, stunned that a fast food slogan had moved more units in one day than some teams move seats in a month. And yet the sandwich wasn't the story. The authenticity was. Because behind the curly fries is a player quietly rewriting the rules of fame in women's hoops, one unscripted moment at a time.
And one thing I like about Sophie is that she's tough. So when Caitlin Clark last week, or not last week, a couple days ago, when Caitlin Clark got destroyed, her girl Sophie came to her defense, and this was the most beast mode thing that I've seen a woman do in WNBA history. Now, Sophie, who's my one of my favorites now, she's become one of my favorite WNBA players. I'm gonna watch her too, like I watch Caitlin. Look at what she did, and people may not say that this was in response or whatever the case may be, but I feel like Sophie is like, you want to play?
To the arena yesterday, wearing that. There she is right there. Let's just bring this up. Over at Tater Report. There she is right there. Hot Girls Eat Arby's. I can only imagine, and I have no idea. I would assume this is some kind of sponsorship with Arby's, right? Right there. I don't know. The roast beef sandwich jokes just sort of write themselves at this point. And just like that, I want a cheddar melt.
Barbie Night was supposed to be a cute marketing gimmick, pink carpets and filtered selfies. Instead, Sophie's thrift-looking gray tee hijacked the feed before tip-off. Within 4 hours, Arby's digital storefront flashed sold-out banners as 300,000 shirts vanished. By sunrise, the counter sat north of 800,000, a pace that forced the chain to retool suppliers on the fly, and a pace the league's own jersey partners hadn't sniffed all year.
Okay, new strategy, team. Angel, keep doing your part. Everyone else, go rebound her misses. Burn! If she keeps missing layups at this rate, she's gonna be serving buttermilk pancakes at Denny's. Butter? Did somebody say butter? Butter pecan! Burn! At a certain point, you just got to applaud greatness. A me-bound on her back? Are you kidding? Bang! Simon says, give me another pray-up. How about it? Bang! She really hit under the basket on a layup. Get this girl GPS. Bang! Everybody get up on your feet. It's time to meet and greet the most underpaid athlete. Bang!
We'll say that when you are good at basketball, you're pretty, and you got grit, those three things make you bad to the bone. And I think this is one of it's new trends that's going on in the WNBA, in my personal opinion, is that not only will you be good at basketball, but you also, some of these women will look like women, right? They used to look like dudes, but now they look like beautiful women that are playing basketball. And one thing I like about Sophie is that she's tough.
As you can see right here, that's Sophie Cunningham. She is the teammate of the year, or at least the Caitlin Clark she is, after Caitlin Clark was pushed to the ground and poked in the eye in the first half of a game against the Phoenix Mercury. She actually, late in the game, assaulted one of the Phoenix Mercury players in retaliation. And fans loved it. They ate it up. Because look at this. If you look closely, her following on TikTok went from over 300,000, which was great, to almost well over 800,000, probably at 1 million now.
Arby's execs didn't hesitate. They wired a mid-six-figure endorsement deal, rushed a limited edition crop top, and plastered Cunningham's smirk on digital billboards from Times Square to Phoenix Sky Harbor. The partnership launch video, just Sophie rating curly fries a 9 out of 10, no notes, drew 15 million loops before noon. For a brand long memed as dad food,
Sophie Cunningham's jersey is going to sell out tonight. The people have been waiting for this. If the refs are not going to do their job, the players are going to have to be the enforcers themselves. This game was chippy from the beginning, and the refs did not do their job.
The collaboration tasted like Gen Z lightning in a bottle. Meanwhile, league offices were left nursing the quiet horror of realizing that a spontaneous outfit had generated more organic impressions than their last 3 carefully choreographed "This Is Who We Are" campaigns combined. If a roast beef pun could dunk on a multi-million-dollar media budget, what else about the marketing playbook was outdated? The question had barely finished echoing when Sophie delivered the next plot twist. High school teams in Missouri, her home state, started rocking knockoff versions at summer camps, spray painting "Hot Girls Eat Tacos" and "Hot Girls Eat Cheese Curds" to prove the meme's versatility. Late-night hosts riffed on the slogan, hungry YouTubers filmed taste tests, and a niche of fashion TikTok declared gray graphic tees the post-Barbie core. When you turn an inside joke into a global trend in under 72 hours, you're not just selling cloth, you're shifting culture. Her follower graph confirmed the shift. Sophie started June with a respectable 200,000 TikTok loyalists. 7 chaotic weeks later, she was flirting with 1.6 million on that platform alone, plus another 1.2 million on Instagram. Every off-the-cuff locker room joke, every unfiltered practice rant, turned into explosive share bait, while polished mic'd-up vignettes from rival stars collected polite, measured likes. Fans said they felt like they finally knew a player instead of a PR avatar. She talked smack about refs one day, posted a goofy milk first or cereal first, poll the next, and owned the backlash when she chose milk. No scripts, no lighting rigs, just phone, face, done. The simplicity proved lethal to the league's carefully staged influencer dances, which suddenly looked about as spontaneous as a middle school recital. But internet charisma only takes you so far in a contact sport. Sophie's real test arrived in Connecticut, when a stray sun elbow clipped Caitlin Clark's eye and left the rookie star blinking stars. Some players jaw, others step in. Cunningham chose the latter, grabbing guard J.C. Sheldon like a rag doll in the final minute. Ejection whistles blared, security separated bodies, and the narrative detonated all over again. One analytics firm crunched the numbers and found that Cunningham's unfiltered clips averaged 22 seconds, yet retained viewers for 94% of that runtime, an attention rate nearly double what polished highlight packages managed. Translation: the shorter and more spontaneous the content, the longer people stuck around. That metric alone sent social media departments scrambling to rethink storyboard-heavy rollouts. Replays of the melee looped on every timeline, each angled caption painting Sophie as either a gladiator or a menace. Within hours, a Change.org petition titled "Remove Sophie Cunningham from the WNBA for Misconduct" collected thousands of digital signatures. She responded with a shrug emoji and a 12-point fourth quarter 2 nights later, then watched in amusement as her Fever jersey vanished from the team store by midnight. While pundits argued ethics, fans rewarded the show of loyalty. Clark called her the human firewall in a post-game presser, and that soundbite alone sent #FirewallSophie trending for 24 straight hours. Indie bars printed the hashtag on coasters. Local printers couldn't keep up with custom tees. Petition organizers unwittingly juiced the very reputation they hoped to sink. A master class in the Streisand effect. But the scuffle had another ripple. Sophie's voice got louder. She fired up a weekly podcast, Show Me Something, promising 0 spin, all spice, and episode 1 delivered. She ripped officiating, laughed at her own $500 fine, then told the league, "Bill me again, I'll expense it to curly fries." Spoiler, they billed her again, 3 times the amount. Instead of retreating, she doubled the audience overnight and turned fines into proof of authenticity. Inside the Fever locker room, something else crystallized. Veterans who'd quietly questioned whether Clark's celebrity would eclipse team chemistry instead saw Cunningham's stand as a unifier. Practice intensity ticked up, assists spiked, and the squad ripped off a 5-game win streak, culminating in a Commissioner's Cup upset of the Lynx that Sophie punctuated with a dagger corner 3. Critics called it intangible mojo, Players called it trust. Episode 2 of the pod arrived stamped with a warning from League HQ. Any more ref slander and the penalty would escalate. So Sophie opened by reading the memo on air, then used a kazoo to censor every official's name she mentioned. The stunt was juvenile, hilarious, and devastatingly on brand. Clips flooded X within minutes, generating more engagement than the league's own Commissioner's Cup hype trailer that same day. By the time fines arrived, first 1,500ers, then rumors of a sliding scale surcharge, Sophie had already flipped the narrative. She pointed out that her penalty tally was lower than what the WNBA spends printing her time-to-play towels for a single game. The community roared. Even rival fan bases admitted the audacity was refreshing. Finally, a player willing to risk money to say what everyone screamed at their TVs. Yet the more she spoke, the more skeletons other people tried to hang on her doorstep. Tabloids pounced on an explosive lawsuit out of Phoenix that casually lobbed allegations of an affair between Sophie and Sun's Mercury CEO Josh Bartelstein. She called it delusional fanfic, posted receipts proving she'd never met the man off court, and dared the outlets to run corrections. Most of them did, quietly, but not before rumor mongers minted a week of clickbait gold. Not everyone applauded. Sky Forward Marina Mabry tweeted a cryptic, "Cloud is loud when the game is quiet," presumed to be anti-Sophie shade. Instead of firing back, Cunningham clipped the tweet onto the podcast thumbnail with the caption, "Volume check," and went live. The episode hit trending status within an hour, neatly proving her point. Authenticity may draw ire, but it also draws eyes. If that lawsuit was a spark, the next incident poured gasoline. During an early August game in Los Angeles, a bright green adult toy arced from the upper deck and skidded to a stop inches from Cunningham's sneakers. Security hustled the projectile off the hardwood, fans booed, and social feeds lit up with slow-motion replays. It was the third such stunt that week, but this one nearly clipped a player, forcing the league to issue an urgent statement and tighten bag policies. Sophie's response? A deadpan selfie captioned, "That's not a ball, y'all," followed by a public reminder that objects on the court endanger everyone. She didn't play the victim. She played the adult in the room, and the maturity landed stronger than any suspension request. Observers noted the gendered rancor behind the object tossing, a crude attempt to belittle a woman who refused to conform. The conversation morphed from pranks to player safety and misogyny, elevating Sophie from viral oddity to spokeswoman for sanity. Brands were listening. When you turn a weaponized joke into a teachable moment and still keep the timeline laughing, you've cracked the influencer code. Endorsement managers started dialing feverishly, but Sophie picked her calls with intent. First, securing the partners that aligned with her guard the house ethos. In response to the toy-throwing saga, arenas installed extra netting courtside, and the WNBA authorized on-site bag inspection dogs trained to sniff out contraband plastics. Some commentators mocked the measure as overkill. Players countered that ignoring small threats invites bigger ones. For her part, Sophie agreed to film a PSA on fan conduct. Only after ensuring half the screen time featured Fever's security staff, shining a light on the people who keep athletes safe while social media obsesses over stats. The Arby's deal was only the appetizer. Adidas slid in next, gifting her a role in Dame Lillard's summer ad push and a sneaker colorway nicknamed Firewall Heat. Ring, the home security giant, followed with a cleverly scripted spot. Sophie standing at her front door, basketball under one arm, voiceover declaring, "On the court, I protect Clark. At home, Ring protects me." The brand synergy was almost too perfect, both built on the promise of keeping intruders out. Independent analysts pegged her cumulative brand bump at over $1 million in equity since the Connecticut scuffle. Not bad for a player who, 5 months ago, was throwing elbows for a Phoenix roster stuck below 1,500. Add in revenue from the Arby's crop top, still back-ordered, and she's become one of the most bankable faces in the sport without cracking the top 15 in scoring. She parlayed the momentum into a 3-city autograph tour with Lexi Hall that sold out in 7 minutes, then announced a partnership with a St. Louis animal shelter, because viral fame means nothing if you can't rehome a few stray pups. Each move felt deliberate, scaled, and rooted in who she actually is, and that authenticity set the stage for inevitable jealousy. Sports Business Journal projected that if her growth curve holds, Cunningham's off-court income could eclipse her current salary by a factor of 8 by 27. That would place her in rare territory occupied by only a handful of NBA role players, let alone WNBA athletes. The revelation fueled a wider debate on salary disparities and the power of personal branding in shrinking that gap. Angel Reese, once dubbed the league's click-through queen, looked up from her phone to find her own merch numbers stagnating. Insiders leaked that she'd vented to friends about Arby's girl stealing my bag. Fans smelled a feud, memed it into existence, and suddenly comparison videos of Reese's choreographed TikTok routines versus Sophie's no-makeup fry reviews flooded feeds. The controversy pulled an old debate back into the spotlight. Does the WNBA reward looks over buckets or authenticity over everything? Some pundits argued Cunningham's rise proved aesthetics still sell. Others countered that Reese's heavily filtered feed demonstrated you can't filter soul. What everyone agreed on was this: forced drama feels tired when a player can earn loyalty by simply acting like a human being. League executives sat in meeting rooms crunching sentiment data, trying to decode how a roast beef tea and a candid podcast beat sponsorship sizzle reels. But fans were already past the question. They'd cast their votes with clicks, jerseys, and watch hours, and the tally read loud and clear: real beats perfect every single time. Whispers now suggest Reese's camp is plotting a food fight response, a rival, fast casual deal meant to reclaim eyeballs. Maybe the league is on the cusp of an all-out marketing arms race that pits personality against personality, brand against brand. If so, Sophie already owns the high ground because no contract clause can replicate the currency of trust. So here we are, staring at a landscape that changed in the time it takes curly fries to crisp. Sophie Cunningham didn't reinvent marketing theory. She just reminded everyone what it feels like when the story is true. Every sold-out tee, every viral call-out, every fine taped to her locker door is a tally in the same column. Proof that authenticity is a currency no marketing budget can print. The question now isn't whether the WNBA will capitalize on that truth, it's whether the league can stomach the messiness that comes with it. Because raw honesty won't always align with press releases. It won't always be pink carpet pretty. But if the goal is eyeballs, loyalty, and long-term growth, maybe it's time to let the firewall burn down the old playbook and see what fresh game can rise from the embers. Either way, the next chapter has already begun. One podcast drop, one viral pregame walk-in, one fearless rebound at a time. And every viewer who clicks in to see what's real will be writing the script with their attention. The ball, as always, is in the league's court.